A Donald Trump presidency, we will finally evict all of these illegal aliens that are coming here and stealing jobs from Americans. If you break into my house, should I just accept you because you washed my dishes and made my beds? I say no. I say you need to go back and come back in the right way.
So is that what the Indians should have told white Americans? The original illegal alien or European white folk in America?
Agreed.
And so should the Indians stand up today and say deport all white folks back to Europe?
Well, should we learn something from their mistake? Because we are here now.
Or should you learn something from their compassion to give other people an opportunity like was given to you and your ancestors? Learn from their compassion. That's what you should learn from.
I say learn from their mistakes.
Letting in the white man was the worst mistake that the Indians ever could have made. I agree with you. That was one of the greatest mistakes. Even right there in South Africa, they got a similar problem.
Who gave their lives.
And ask the black men and women who served America in its military, like in the Independence War. We helped America get it, and we were still slaves afterwards. Ask those in Vietnam who gave their war on Vietnam battlefields, but then came back and was called niggers in their own country. We have fought in America's war, and we've never been given the justice and the due process of everybody else in this nation.
Then
so
why don't you move to a different country? Why are you staying here if you don't like it?
Let me tell you why. Because the country belongs to Indians. You white folks stole it from them, raped and robbed their people. This not your country. You all came over here and stole it and beat the hell out of them. So this not your country.
It was my country.
You all need to go home.
If you're
you all need to go back where you came from.
If you don't like it, why don't you pack up and go?
Let the Indians decide who should pack up and go. And I guarantee you black folks will stay, and you all will be on the first damn boat leaving here. So don't try that, brother. You all didn't make America. This is not your country.
What you should do is sit down with someone who has fought for this country, Quanell. Get their opinion too.
Tons of black people have, and what have we gotten from it?
Family, many a times when the topic of immigration and mass deportation is brought up in America, many white people are always very, very vocal, saying that people should leave their country. When black people complain about the systemic injustices in America, they are told that they can as well leave to a better country. Family, this is coming from the mouth of white people who are also immigrants in America. You know, if the Indians did not give them an opportunity to settle in America, what could be the situation right now? If they did not get rid of the natives, you know, if they did not use black people as laborers to build America to be what it is today, what could be the situation in America today? Because many a times they boast and tell people that they should leave their country. Family, Quanell X handles these in different interviews with disrespectful white journalists. And family, I thought that I should share these videos because they are very enlightening to the black community in America. I want you to watch this video all the way to the end as we try to debunk this fact when it comes to illegal immigration in America. Are white people Americans? Are white people real Americans? Do they deserve to leave America just like any other person, as they are pushing this analogy? Family, in a special way, I'd like to thank my subscribers who are supporting this channel by buying me a coffee. I do not take your support for granted. The link for buying a coffee is on the description box down below. Let's watch this video, then we'll be right back.
Buddy, that I'm in remission. I am cancer free. And I want to thank everybody that has prayed for me, that has come up to me and been so kind to me. And you know what? The Immigrant Free Day. I think about these individuals. You know something? When you do what I did, when you work hard, when you do what you're told, when you go where you're supposed to go, and you pray to God, then good things happen. If one day you decide you're going to do none of those things, then what may happen is exactly what happened to these so-called immigrants, many of them illegal, who decided not to go to work a particular day to somehow get across some kind of message. They get fired the next day. Welcome to America.
Man, you know, I am happy that you're in remission. To God be the glory. But it is amazing how you could beat cancer and be in remission and your heart still be so cold and hard. It is amazing how you would speak that way about immigrants when you call them so-called immigrants. You're right, they're so-called immigrants.
Some are illegal.
Because they're only coming back home. Texas, Arizona, and California were stole from the Mexicans. So they're so-called immigrants because they're coming back home. And when you speak about if you work hard and do the right thing and be good to people, well, guess what? That's not the history or the legacy of your ancestors.
You got to come through the front door.
White folk didn't come through the front door. White folk kicked open the back door and killed everything else in between to conquer America.
Why do you,
they were not good to people that they met.
You're trying
they didn't show hospitality to the Indians.
You're trying to avoid what we're talking about.
They didn't do that.
Here.
They weren't hospitable.
You're trying to avoid what we're talking about here, and you're going to go back 200-300 years.
What I'm trying to do.
Why don't we talk about what's taking place over the weekend?
What I'm trying to do is try to tell white people like you, stop throwing rocks at the immigrants when you all live in a glass house. You all didn't come to America the right way or the godly way.
Yes, you do. You do the things the correct way. And in 2017, the correct thing to do is come through the front door. And these are people that snuck into this country. And so we're all supposed to allow that to happen? That's not how it works. You're not going to get what you're looking for. And you got to work. You got to come through the front door. I understand that.
I'm saying they should not have to sneak back into a territory that the legacy of that territory belonged to their own people. But let's just say for the sake of the law, they broke the law. Okay, I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, brother, where is the human compassion that the ancestors of Indians showed your community? You all won't show that to nobody else. What you want it all showed to you.
Let's stay in America. There was no America back, what you're talking about. You're taking something and trying to turn it into something that it's not. Let's talk about the rules and the laws that exist in the United States of America.
This is America, but America the beautiful has been America the ugly toward too many people of color. And all we want is the same thing you all enjoy, the complexion for the protection.
Well, I tell you what,
all got in America. We don't have that.
Do that when somebody crosses your property line and wants to come into your home and sit down in your living room and eat out of your refrigerator without ever asking you or without being a member of your family.
All the immigrants are not doing that. So stop that, brother. That's a hype. That's a lie, and it's racist, man.
It's not a hype. It's exactly what they want.
They're not all doing that.
Has been signed by Governor Abbott. Basically, the anti-sanctuary city bill has been passed and is now law. And what that bill says is that if local law enforcement or state police view a criminal activity afoot, they make a stop on that state crime, and then they can inquire into the status of an individual's residence. Are they a lawful U.S. citizen? Are they here with a green card? Are they a permanent resident alien? Or are they here illegally without documentation? And if they are here illegally without that documentation, then the feds can get involved and then they can take it from there. I think this is a fantastic law. It is time to start enforcing the laws that are on the books instead of the state and local officials legislating from their own little tiny offices.
It's an awful law because it's nothing more than a legal way for law enforcement to racially profile Mexicans and Hispanics. This law was written into existence by Governor Abbott to specifically go after a said group of demographics here in the state of Texas. Secondly, it is awful that we want to call them illegal immigrants to the point to where if a cop does not do his job according to this law, he can be charged and arrested, and the cities can be given a $25,000 fine per day. Well, we'll put a cop in jail for not asking about his immigrant status, but we won't put cops in jail for shooting and killing unarmed black people.
That's not true, and that's way too far of a step. Murder is against the law.
Yeah, but it's not against the law when you kill black people and you're a cop. See, the problem in America and this state is...
What about the Dallas case where that cop was just charged with murder?
Because there was video to show he was absolutely lying.
So you can't make these broad statements. It's just simply not true.
Often there's video, ma'am, where we are killed by cops and nobody ever goes to jail. Ask Eric Garner's family that. Ask the family right there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Brother Alton Sterling's family.
But your
they're not getting justice. So video don't mean nothing for us. But let's get back to the immigrants. I would say to the Hispanic and Mexican community, what you got to do now, hook up with the black community and unite in political power. Because if Mexicans and black people unite in Texas, we can control the governor, we can control the lieutenant governor, and we can control politics in Texas, period. I'm saying to Latino brothers and sisters, don't fight them by yourself. If you hook up with black people and we unite, I'm telling you, we can run Texas and then pass laws to deal with those who hate us.
You're advocating for criminal activity, Quanell. These people are not here lawfully. They need to do what our ancestors did, what many Mexicans have done.
No, wait a minute.
Many, don't interrupt me.
Your ancestors came here illegally. Wasn't nothing legal about your ancestors.
Listen.
They came illegally and they murdered, they raped, they pillaged a whole race of people. This country, Texas, Arizona, and California, belonged to the Mexicans.
Quanell, get back
it was
to the
stole
point.
from them.
You
so
tell
when
me
you
to
quote
get back
your
to the point.
ancestors, they came here illegally.
No, you're not being fair to me here. You say stay on topic. I say, okay, we'll stay on topic. And then as soon as we start talking about illegal immigration,
your ancestors.
You go back to the black issue. Let's stay on topic.
Your ancestors are the master illegal immigrants.
Give me the opportunity to respond in that, you know what? We're all Americans here. And if you are here legally, absolutely, then we need to come together and we need to pass good laws for enforcing the laws.
Well, perhaps the Native Americans should have passed laws against your ancestors.
Greg Abbott wants to make sure that Houston, the city of Houston, is put under the same microscope as any city that isn't allowed legally to be the quote-unquote sanctuary city. And this is what we do here in the city of Houston. People come into the city of Houston illegally, they're allowed to stay. There is only so much that our law enforcement officers are willing to do, that the DEA is willing to do, that the border agents are willing to do. Why in the world don't we go after those that are here? Well, that's what Abbott wants to change, and I agree. And as soon as we make sure that in the state of Texas, if Houston keeps conducting itself the same way that San Antonio and other cities conduct themselves, then no money is coming to Houston from the state. We need to do that on a state level. We also need to do it on a federal level.
But Matt, my problem with this is, why are we so worried about getting rid of all of the Mexicans or Hispanics that are quote unquote here, if they're illegal or not? At the end of the day, many of them are paying taxes. Many of them have been here for generations and decades. And Matt, trying to get rid of 4 or 5 or 3 million people all at once is not going to work. We don't have the resources for it.
We don't have to do it all at once.
And secondly, Matt, listen, there is no such thing as an illegal Mexican immigrant coming into Texas because they're only coming home. Texas, Arizona, and California was stole from the Mexicans.
Don't start
this
that nonsense.
This all belonged to them. So they're
nonsense.
only coming home, and then here it is, you white folks stole the land from the Indians, but yet you're the natural, real illegal immigrant.
So let's start with the things you said that are already wrong. First of all, they're coming here, they're not paying any taxes. You're telling me they're paying taxes? They're not paying taxes because nobody knows who the heck they are. No, they're not paying any taxes.
Matt, when they buy a product, they pay a tax on it.
Let's continue
When they buy a car, they pay a tax on it.
You come into this country illegally. That is a law that you're breaking, and that's why they have to be sent back to wherever they came from. They want to come through the front door. That is the correct way to come in. And the city of Houston has to stop allowing this, or we're never going to get them to stop coming in here. Look, that's what we got to do. Follow the law.
But Matt, where is the compassion that the indigenous Indians had for white people in this country?
What do you keep going backwards?
They let you all come in.
What are you going backwards?
And you came in and raised a whole lot of hell.
Don't start.
Trump
start
called
bringing up
Mexicans
history and try and
rapists. He
explain
called
what's
them
going on
criminals.
today.
Trump called the Mexicans illegal criminals coming into America. Well, the biggest illegal criminal ever come into America was white people.
So you don't give a damn if people break into this country.
I don't give a damn.
I wonder what's going to happen when they come to rob your house.
I don't give a damn about hypocrites who came here illegally and stole all of this and now want to blame them before only coming back home. To all of the Mexicans, don't worry about this. Just keep having babies, and in 30 years, all these white folks will be under your control.
To Americans, let's stand up and do what the hell we're supposed to do and stop letting the city of Houston be an open door. This ain't no sanctuary city.
Don't listen to that.
This is a real city.
Just keep having babies, and at the end of the day, you'll run everything in Texas. Just keep having babies.
Now you understand why I got to come here every single week, and I gotta go after this man and maybe get through that thick skull one day.
In 20 years, you're gonna be the minority in Texas.
One of the things that I'm hoping for is with a Donald Trump presidency, we will finally evict all of these illegal aliens that are coming here and stealing jobs from Americans.
Well, sir, I believe that Donald Trump would be wise to speak with people of wisdom and counsel in this nation who understand the immigration problem. Do we have an immigration problem? Yes, we do. But how we go about fixing it is just as important as the problem itself. What Donald Trump is proposing, just shipping 11 million people back out of this country, I don't think that's going to work. In fact, I think it's impossible. I think it's nothing more than rhetoric to excite the emotions of people to help try to get him elected. But can that become the reality? I don't think it can. What they're doing over in Greece, sending them back to Turkey, Turkey is actually doing what Donald Trump says he will do. But if that takes place in America, I think it will create revolution and war.
Well, one of the problems you have is the number, 11 million. It's probably somewhere more like about 65 million. But once again, those people here are taking jobs away from Texans, from Americans, And it's really critically important that we do create a situation where the force of law is in operation. If you break into my house, should I just accept you because you washed my dishes and made my beds? I say no. I say you need to go back and come back in the right way.
So is that what the Indians should have told white Americans?
Absolutely. Ask Cochise if border control is
because
important.
the original illegal alien are European white folk in America.
Agreed.
And so should the Indians stand up today and say deport all white folks back to Europe?
Well, should we learn something from their mistake? Because we are here now.
Or should you learn something from their compassion to give other people an opportunity like was given to you and your ancestors? Learn from their compassion. That's what you should learn from.
I say learn from their mistakes. Ask Geronimo if taking care of your borders is important. We need to do that now.
And I agree with Cochise, Geronimo, and Sitting Bull. Letting in the white man was the worst mistake that the Indians ever could have made. I agree with you. That was one of the greatest mistakes. Even right there in South Africa, they got a similar problem.
Family, we need vocal leaders like Kwanel X in black community today, because family, many a times white people take advantage of the privilege they have in America. Many a times, anytime we complain about their wrongs in America, they tell us to leave and go to a better country. And family, the funny thing is that that is coming from a person who's not a native of this country. They actually do not have a right. When we want to look at these and dig deeper, you know, historically, where white people came from, they're all rooted from Europe. You know, the same way many black folks rooted from Africa. There's no way, they do not have any rights to just command people to leave America, you know, and that is the situation with the interviews you just watched. Disrespectful white journalists question Kwanel X, and they say that their people should leave, you know, America. Family, I noted some pointers from the interview that I think we should actually expand on the same. Kwanel X put the disrespectful white journalists to their place, asking people of color to move to a different country. Kwanel tells them that the country belongs to Indians. White folks stole it from them. Family, America originally belonged to the Indians, the very natives of that country. Just imagine if the Indians fought back and they did not give in to the attempt of white people trying to steal the country away from them. What could be the situation today? Right now we see them boasting, saying that people should leave their country, and you wonder if this America is actually their own country. You notice when you want to dig deeper that these people are also immigrants. They came to America forcefully. They killed, they murdered, you know, the Indians. America was built in the graves of the natives under the forced labor of black people. But family, anytime a black person speaks and calls out racism, many times they are told that they should leave and go to a country where racism doesn't exist. And you wonder where they want them to go to, while they brought black people in America forcefully. You know, this is the behavior that the white supremacist has been pushing for so many years in America. But family, that is very, very wrong. That is something that they have been feeling and boasting about, you know, but it's something that they actually do not deserve even to speak about, because if we look at the roots, they also deserve to leave America. They should not be living in America today. If democracy really works, if we wanted to look at things from its roots, then it would mean that white Americans do not deserve also to be in America today. Kwanel tells them that the country belongs to Indians. White folks stole it from them. Whites should also go back where they came from, because they are not natives. Anytime a white person tells you that you should leave America, you know, tell them to also go back to their country, because how do you chase somebody from a land that is not yours? How do you tell somebody that they are trespassing in your home when that home is not yours? You also had stolen it from somebody else. Do you see how weird that can be? You steal a home from somebody, Then somebody trespasses and you tell them that they should not be trespassing. I mean, you're both thieves. You're both in somebody else's land. You ought to be very, very humble and try to see how this same land can accommodate the both of you, because you found yourself in a land that does not belong to you. So when you go ahead and start chasing people will come and tell you and remind you that we saw you steal this land. There is no way you'll chase us away from this land. Instead, try and incorporate us in this stolen land for us to live peacefully. That is something, the analogy that many white folks are still not using in America. They are trying to boast ownership of America while they know very well that they are not real natives of this land. Kwane Lex says, this is not your country and you should leave. White folks didn't come from the front door. They came from the back door and killed natives, to conquer America. Imagine what white folks did for them to enjoy whatever they have today in America. They had to kill. They had to do genocide to the natives, the Indians, They didn't come with the front door. They came from the back door and killed natives to conquer America. The white journalists called immigrants illegal aliens. And that did not sit well with Kwane Lex. And Kwane Lex got back to them and said, the original illegal aliens are the white people in America. What if Indians told white folks to go back to Europe? What could have been the situation today? They ought to have learned from them getting an opportunity from the Indians. They ought to have learned something that should teach them to have compassion, the opportunity they were given. They should be humble that they actually forced Indians to accommodate them in a land that originally belonged to them. They actually used a lot of force for them to stay in America today. And that alone should make them feel so humble. They should actually live in America with fear because they do not know what would happen in the coming months. They do not know what would happen in the coming years. You do not boast and say that any other person should leave your country while you yourself stole the country. This is one funny thing that I have noticed with many white supremacists. They want to claim ownership to America. They want to treat any other race badly without even caring, because they think that they are very, very special. They cling on the white privilege that they get. Family, that has always been a very, very wrong analogy, and I hope that white folks could change moving forward, because if anything, everyone should be going back to their home. They can never remain, in America. If they say today that everyone should pack their bag and go to their original homes, then America will remain with a few people, because the very natives are very, very less nowadays. They are almost going extinct. So when they say that everyone should leave America, white folks will go back to Europe and America will remain empty because they are the vast majority. Family, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know how you found the teachings, how Kwane Lex argues. For me, I just give Kwane Lex a lot of respect, because rarely do we see black leaders speak the way he speaks, boldly, in our generation today. He did so well in the interviews to try and defend, the rights of minorities. And family, that is something that is so rare in our day and time. Family, like the video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'd be very, very grateful. Lastly, I'd really appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and family, I'd really appreciate if you would be a part of the 50k subs as soon as we hit the 50k subs. We are currently at 31,000 subscribers, and family, I'd really be appreciative. Thank you so much, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.